Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Cody sat in front of his computer, surrounded by leftover pizza boxes and history books. He had stayed up all night studying. As he scrolled, he found something new, a world of royalty and mystery. Cody, tired but interested, leaned closer to the screen, his glasses pressed against his head, reminding him how long he'd been here. He whispered to himself, wanting just one more look at this history. He came across a Wikipedia page with an old portrait. It showed Isabella, the Princess of Navarre. "You look like me," Cody said, touching the screen. "What were you thinking in your last moments?" His apartment felt smaller every night. Bills were piled up on the counter. His phone buzzed with a message from his boss about missing his shift at the warehouse. He turned it off. Cody opened his journal, filled with sketches and notes about 16th century Navarre, trade routes, political ties, and maps of the royal castle. Years of research in small handwriting. "If I could warn you, tell you about the secret passage in the East Tower the invaders used." He drew another map, showing escape routes that weren't in any history books. The radiator clanged, snapping him out of his thoughts. Outside, sirens screamed through the empty streets. This was his life, low-paying job, lost in history. While others his age went out or built careers, Cody stayed in the past. He clicked to another portrait, Princess Maria, Isabella's younger sister, blonde hair, blue eyes, captured in oils at age 19. The sisters died together, according to the records. Cody had memorized every detail. "Tomorrow I'll start applying for better jobs," he told himself. The same lie as every night. "Tomorrow I'll call Mom back. Tomorrow I'll clean this place." But tomorrow meant facing reality. Tonight belonged to fantasy. He pulled up his favorite historical fiction forum, typing another post about time travel theories. What if someone could change the past? What if knowledge from the future could save lives? The other users indulged him, spinning elaborate alternate histories where the princesses survived. "You're obsessed," his last girlfriend had said before leaving. "You care more about dead royalty than living people." She wasn't wrong. Cody stood, stretching cramped muscles. The mirror above his dresser reflected someone he barely recognized. Hollow cheeks, overgrown brown hair, stubble that needed attention. When had he last gone outside during daylight? He grabbed another energy drink from the mini fridge, the caffeine barely registering anymore. Back at the computer, he opened his private folder. Hundreds of images, articles, genealogy charts. He'd traced Isabella's lineage, learned court etiquette, studied 16th century Spanish until he could read original documents. In another life? He shook his head. In another life, he'd have been born centuries ago. Maybe as a knight, a courtier, someone who could have made a difference. The clock hit 4 a.m. Even his obsession had limits. Work started at noon, and he needed at least some sleep. Cody saved his files, each labeled with dates and detailed tags. Organization mattered when you were cataloging an entire life that wasn't yours. He collapsed onto his unmade bed, still wearing his glasses. The ceiling had water stains that looked like continental maps in the darkness. Europe, circa 1600. He could trace the borders from memory. "Princess Isabella," he whispered to the empty room. "I know everything about you. Your favorite horse was named Estrella. You loved honey cakes. You wrote poetry that your father called unladylike. You were brave until the end." Sleep pulled at him, heavy and insistent. His last conscious thought was the same as always. What if? Dreams came in fragments. Stone walls, tapestries, the scent of lavender and candle wax. But tonight felt different, vivid, real. "Come to us." A voice speaking Spanish but somehow understood perfectly. "We have waited so long." Two figures stood in swirling mist, auburn hair and blonde, emerald silk and sapphire blue. The princesses, exactly as the portraits depicted, but alive, breathing, reaching out with pale hands. "You know us better than we know ourselves." Isabella's voice carried music and sadness. "You see our ending where we see only tomorrow. Help us." Maria stepped forward, younger but equally desperate. "Your knowledge, our lives. a trade across time itself. This is just a dream. Even in sleep, Cody maintained skepticism. You're not real. You died 400 years ago. Did we? Isabella smiled, but tears tracked down her cheeks. Or do we die because no one warned us? Because history is written by survivors, not victims? The mist thickened, swirling faster. Cody felt pulled, stretched, like taffy between centuries. His apartment, his body, his entire existence seemed to fade. Choose. Both sisters spoke in unison. Your empty present or our imperiled past. But know this. The choice cannot be undone. I choose pain. Blinding, overwhelming, every nerve firing at once. Cody screamed, but no sound emerged. The world exploded into fragments of light and sensation. Then silence, warmth, softness. The scent of lavender wasn't imagined now, but real, rising from silk sheets. Cody's eyes fluttered open to unfamiliar surroundings. A canopy bed, carved wooden posts, morning light through leaded glass windows. No, the voice that emerged was high, musical, wrong. This can't be. Sitting up required effort. The body moved differently, weight distributed in new ways. Long auburn hair tumbled over shoulders, bare shoulders above a white linen nightgown. Cody looked down and gasped. The nightgown revealed curves that hadn't existed before. Delicate hands with tapered fingers replaced familiar calluses. Everything was wrong. Everything was impossible. A silver mirror stood on the nearby vanity. Cody stumbled toward it, nightgown tangling around unfamiliar legs. The reflection stopped all rational thought. Princess Isabella stared back. Not a resemblance, not similarity, identity. The same hazel eyes from the portraits, the same aristocratic features, the same auburn hair that Cody had memorized from countless hours of study. But behind those eyes lived Cody's consciousness, Cody's memories, Cody's modern knowledge trapped in a body 4 centuries removed. My lady? The door opened. A woman in servant's attire entered, carrying a washing basin. You're awake early. Shall I help you dress? The Spanish came naturally, as if Cody had always spoken it. Yes. Thank you, Anna. How did that name surface? But more memories flooded in, not replacing Cody's but layering beneath them. This servant, trusted since childhood. The morning routine of washing, dressing, preparing for court. Isabella's life like a script Cody had memorized but never performed. Anna helped remove the nightgown with practiced efficiency. Cody wanted to protest, to maintain some privacy, but the body moved automatically through familiar motions. The servant seemed to notice nothing unusual as she helped wash and dress her mistress. The corset came first, whalebone and determination cinching a waist that needed no such constraint. Then layers, chemise, farthingale, petticoats, until finally the gown itself, emerald silk, exactly as the portraits depicted. The weight felt strange but not unbearable. Your hair, my lady? Anna gestured to the vanity. Cody sat, watching in the mirror as skilled hands worked auburn strands into an elaborate style, pins and ribbons, a small tiara nestled perfectly. The transformation was complete. No trace of the man who'd fallen asleep in a dingy apartment remained. Princess Maria wishes to speak with you before morning prayers. Anna stepped back, admiring her work. She seemed troubled. Maria, the younger sister who would die alongside Isabella when the castle fell. But when? The historical records were vague. Sometime in 1614, but which month? Which day? Cody's modern knowledge felt frustratingly incomplete when faced with living history. Send her in. The words came naturally, accompanied by a gesture Cody had never learned, but Isabella's muscle memory provided. Anna curtsied and left. Moments later, Maria entered in a rush of sapphire silk and blonde curls. Just 19, full of life that history would soon extinguish. Isabella, she grasped her sister's hands. I had the strangest dream. A man from a distant time speaking of danger and death. He knew things, impossible things about our future. Cody's heart, Isabella's heart, raced. Tell me everything. He spoke of invaders using the East Tower, of father's advisors betraying us, of Maria's blue eyes filled with tears, of us dying together, Bella. It felt so real. The shared dream. Somehow the connection that brought Cody here had touched Maria too. This was the confirmation that this impossible situation was actually happening. What if it wasn't just a dream? Cody chose words carefully. What if we were being warned? By whom? God? Angels? Maria sat on the bed, sapphire silk spreading around her. Father would call it blasphemy. Mother would worry for our souls. Their parents, King Ferdinand and Queen Catherine, still alive in 1614. The historical records showed they died months before their daughters, leaving the kingdom vulnerable. But which months? Why couldn't Cody remember the exact dates? We need to be careful. Isabella's voice carried new authority. Cody's determination filtered through royal bearing. Tell no one else about your dream, but watch everything, everyone. Trust has become a luxury we cannot afford. Maria nodded slowly. You're different today, Bella? Stronger somehow? If only she knew how different. Cody stood, the gown's weight a constant reminder of this new reality. In the mirror, Princess Isabella moved with practiced grace that felt simultaneously foreign and natural. We should attend prayers. The routine surfaced from Isabella's memories. Father will expect us. The castle corridors stretched longer than any museum Cody had visited. Servants bowed as they passed. Guards nodded respectfully. Everyone saw Princess Isabella, not the confused consciousness within. The emerald gown swished with each step, an audible reminder of transformation. The chapel was exactly as historical texts described. Stone arches, stained glass, wooden pews for the royal family. King Ferdinand stood near the altar, black doublet severe against graying beard. Queen Catherine sat in the front pew, burgundy gown and worried expression. My daughters, Ferdinand's voice echoed. You're late. Forgive us, Father. The words came smoothly, accompanied by a perfect curtsy Cody had never practiced. We were discussing matters of importance. What matters could be more important than God? But his tone held affection, not anger. As the priest began the service in Latin, Cody's mind raced. The East Tower, that was where the invaders entered, according to Maria's dream. According to history. But who were the inside conspirators? Which advisors turned traitor? Lord Mendoza stood with other courtiers, silver beard and calculating eyes. Was he the betrayer? Or Lord Castillo, whose debts were legendary even in historical accounts? Every face became suspect when you knew betrayal was coming, but not its source. You seem distracted, child, Queen Catherine whispered, burgundy sleeve brushing Isabella's emerald one. Are you well? Just thinking about the future, Mother. Truth hidden in plain words. The future belongs to God. Focus on today. But today would become yesterday, and yesterday's choices created tomorrow's tragedies. Cody had to change things without revealing the impossible truth. Who would believe that Princess Isabella's body now housed the consciousness of a man from 4 centuries in the future? After prayers, court business began. Ferdinand held audiences in the Great Hall, hearing petitions and rendering judgments. Isabella and Maria were expected to attend, silent ornaments to royal power. But Cody watched everything with new eyes. The treasury minister spoke of depleted coffers. The military advisor warned of troops massing at the borders. The spy master whispered of intercepted letters, all pieces of a puzzle that would end in disaster if unchanged. Father, the word escaped before Cody could stop it. Might I speak? The hall fell silent. Princess Isabella rarely interrupted court business. Ferdinand's bushy eyebrows rose. You have something to contribute, daughter? Stand. Curtsy. Project confidence through an unfamiliar voice. The East Tower's defenses concern me. During last week's inspection, I noticed structural weaknesses. There had been no inspection, but Isabella's reputation for unusual interests, unladylike interests, provided cover for invented observations. The East Tower has stood for 3 centuries. Lord Mendoza's voice dripped condescension. Surely a princess need not worry about military matters. Surely a kingdom that ignores warnings falls to enemies. The retort came sharp, Cody's frustration breaking through royal composure. Or do you disagree, Lord Mendoza? Dangerous. Too aggressive for a princess, even one known for strong opinions. But Mendoza's eyes narrowed in a way that screamed guilt. Was he the traitor? How could Cody be certain? Peace. Ferdinand raised a hand. Isabella speaks from concern, not criticism. Captain Rodriguez, inspect the East Tower. Report any weaknesses directly to me. A small victory. If the secret passage could be discovered and sealed, one avenue of attack would close. But many remained open, and time was running short. The day progressed through endless routine. Meals where Cody struggled with unfamiliar etiquette, needlework sessions where Isabella's muscle memory saved embarrassment, social calls that revealed court intrigue. The emerald gown grew heavier with each hour, a constant reminder of this impossible situation. You truly are different. Maria cornered her sister in the rose garden, blue gown bright against green hedges. It's as if you've become someone else entirely. The truth balanced on Cody's lips. But how could Maria understand? How could anyone? Perhaps I've simply realized how precious our time is. Half-truth, wholly inadequate. We assume tomorrow will come, but history teaches otherwise. History? Maria laughed, but nervously. Since when do you study dusty books? Since always, but in another life. Cody deflected with discussions of flowers and weather, safe topics that revealed nothing. But Maria's eyes held questions that wouldn't fade. Dinner arrived with formal ceremony, the great hall filled with nobility, each place setting a political statement. Isabella sat at the king's right hand, emerald gown glowing in candlelight. Every bite required concentration, which fork, which glass, which conversation to join. The northern provinces grow restless. Lord Castillo addressed the king. Perhaps military presence would calm them. Or provoke them, Cody interjected, earning surprised looks. Force breeds resentment. Resentment breeds rebellion. Wise words. Queen Catherine smiled, but concern creased her forehead. You've been studying statecraft, Isabella? Studying it 400 years after everyone at this table died. Knowledge serves the kingdom, mother. Pretty faces fade, but wisdom endures. Careful, daughter. Ferdinand's tone mixed warning with approval. Too much wisdom in a woman unsettles weak men. Then perhaps we need stronger men. The words escaped before Cody could stop them, earning shocked gasps from conservative courtiers. But Ferdinand laughed, deep and genuine. Well said, though perhaps more diplomatically phrased next time. The meal continued, each course a careful dance of manners Cody barely managed. The corset made breathing difficult, the heavy gown trapped heat, and the constant performance of femininity exhausted in ways the warehouse job never had. After dinner, the court gathered for entertainment. Musicians played period instruments, their melodies both foreign and familiar from Cody's historical research. But knowing the notes and living them were vastly different experiences. Dance with me, sister. Maria extended her hand. Like when we were children. The great hall's floor cleared as the princesses took position. Cody's mind screamed ignorance, but Isabella's body knew every step. They moved in perfect synchronization, sapphire and emerald gowns swirling, while courtiers watched and whispered. You lead now, Maria whispered. You never led before. Because Cody had learned to lead in another life, another body. But muscle memory could only explain so much. Each spin required conscious effort to follow instead of guide, to move as Princess Isabella would have moved. The music ended to polite applause. But in the crowd, Cody noticed Lord Mendoza speaking quietly with two other nobles. Their eyes tracked the princesses with calculation that chilled despite the hall's warmth. Father. After the entertainment, Cody approached the throne. Might we speak privately? I have concerns about court security. Security? Ferdinand studied his daughter. This sudden interest in military matters troubles your mother. Would she prefer I remain ignorant until danger arrives? I would prefer you trust your father and his advisors to protect you. His advisors, some of whom would betray him, though Cody couldn't prove which ones. Not yet. I do trust you, father, but even the wisest king benefits from many perspectives. Ferdinand stood, black doublet imposing. Walk with me. They left the great hall for the king's private study. Maps covered one wall, showing Navarre and surrounding kingdoms. Cody studied them, comparing to remembered historical borders. So much would change, so much would be lost. Speak freely, daughter. What troubles you? Where to begin? How to warn without seeming mad? Cody chose words carefully. I've heard whispers among the servants. Fear about our borders, worry about loyalty within the court, dreams of danger. Servants gossip. It means nothing. Didn't the Roman Empire fall partly through internal betrayal? Cody caught the slip. Princess Isabella wouldn't know Roman history in such detail. Your tutors have expanded their curriculum, I see. Ferdinand's eyes narrowed. Or have you been reading forbidden books? Dangerous ground. Knowledge itself cannot be forbidden, only misused, and I would use it to protect our family. By questioning my advisors? By suggesting our defenses are weak? By seeing threats you might miss? Desperation crept into Isabella's voice. Father, please, just consider the possibility that someone close plots against us. Ferdinand turned to the window, hands clasped behind his back. You think me blind to court intrigue? I've ruled for 30 years, child. I know which smiles hide daggers. Then you know Lord Mendoza meets secretly with foreign agents? A lie, but delivered with conviction. Ferdinand spun around, faced shocked. How could you possibly— Who told you this? Does it matter if it's true? Cody pressed the advantage. Have him watched. See where his loyalties truly lie. Isabella, the king's voice dropped low. If you're wrong, if you're spreading false accusations, then I'll accept whatever punishment you deem fit. But if I'm right, if you're right, you may have saved the kingdom. Ferdinand sighed. Very well, I'll have Mendoza watched discreetly. But Isabella, yes, father? No more surprises? You're my daughter, not my spy master. They returned to find the court dispersing. Maria waited in the corridor, blue gown rumpled from dancing. What did you discuss? She linked arms with her sister. You look troubled. Just sharing concerns, nothing more. But everything more. As they walked to their chambers, Cody mentally cataloged every face they passed. Servants, guards, minor nobles. Any could be the key to preventing disaster, or causing it. Stay with me tonight? Maria asked at her door. Like when we were young and scared of thunderstorms? The request hit unexpectedly hard. This young woman, so alive and trusting, would die because Cody's historical knowledge lacked crucial details. When exactly? How exactly? The frustration burned. Of course, Maria's chambers mirrored Isabella's, but in blue tones. They helped each other from the heavy gowns, fingers working familiar laces. The intimacy felt strange. Cody had never undressed with such casual assistance, never worn garments requiring another's help to remove. In linen nightgowns, they brushed each other's hair. Maria's blonde strands caught candlelight, while Isabella's auburn waves resisted the silver brush. Such different colors, yet history would unite them in death. Tell me honestly. Maria met her sister's eyes in the mirror. What frightens you? You've been strange all day. The future frightens me. Truth, if incomplete. The sense that time is running short. For what? For everything. For changes that might save lives. For Cody to figure out how Isabella's body worked, how court politics functioned, how to prevent a disaster with incomplete information. I don't know, just promise me something? If danger comes, don't be brave. Run, hide, survive. Maria laughed, but it sounded forced. You speak as if you've seen our deaths. In a way, Cody had. In history books and academic papers, reduced to footnotes about political consequences. The human cost summarized in a single sentence. Both princesses perished when the castle fell. Promise me. I promise. Maria squeezed her sister's hand. though I don't understand the urgency. They lay in the canopied bed, blue curtains creating a private world. Maria fell asleep quickly, breathing deep and even, but Cody remained awake, mind racing through possibilities. The East Tower was one weakness, now being investigated. Lord Mendoza was under suspicion, his movements tracked. But what other threats lurked? Which allies would prove false when tested? Isabella's body felt alien in the darkness. Every position was wrong, weight distributed differently, hair tangling annoyingly. The nightgown twisted around legs that were too smooth, too shaped. Even breathing felt different without the familiar chest structure. But gradually, exhaustion won. Cody slept and dreamed not of the future, but the past. That dingy apartment, those endless nights researching a princess who was now the face in every mirror. Had it been real? Or was this reality, and that life the dream? Dawn came with Anna's gentle knock. The routine began again, washing, corseting, layering emerald silk. But this time, Cody paid attention to every detail. If this transformation was permanent, these skills mattered. Princess Maria has already gone to prayers. Anna secured the final pin in auburn hair. She said not to wake you. Strange. Maria usually insisted they attend together. Cody hurried through empty corridors, the emerald gown swishing urgently. Something felt wrong. The chapel was fuller than usual. Extra guards, nervous courtiers, and at the altar, no. The word escaped as a whisper. Queen Catherine lay on a bier, burgundy gown replaced by funeral white. The king knelt beside her, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Maria stood frozen, tears streaming down pale cheeks. When? Cody moved without thinking, gathering Maria into an embrace. How? This morning. Maria's voice broke. Her heart. The physician said her heart simply stopped, but she was healthy yesterday. Yesterday, when Cody had warned about threats, focused on external dangers while internal ones struck. Poison? Natural causes? The historical records mentioned the queen's death, but not its manner. My daughters. Ferdinand rose, aged a decade overnight. Your mother, she spoke of you both last night, said she was proud of the women you've become. The women, one who was supposed to be here, one who was a displaced consciousness wearing her skin. Guilt mixed with grief Cody shouldn't feel for a woman met only yesterday. We must be strong. Isabella's voice emerged steady despite inner turmoil. Mother would want... Do not tell me what she would want. Ferdinand's roar echoed off stone walls. She is gone. Gone while I worried about borders and budgets and... He collapsed into tears. The King of Navarre, reduced to a grieving husband. Courtiers shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to comfort or retreat. Clear the chapel. Cody took command with Isabella's authority. Give the king privacy to mourn. They filed out reluctantly. Only the princesses remained, emerald and sapphire bright against funeral preparations. Maria clung to her sister while Ferdinand wept over his queen. This changed everything. The queen's death was supposed to precede the princesses by months, weakening the kingdom's stability. But which months? And if the timeline was accelerating, how long remained? Poison. Lord Castillo appeared at Cody's elbow, voice low. That's what some whisper. A woman in perfect health doesn't simply die. Careful, my lord. The warning came sharp. Such whispers could be considered treason. Or truth. His dark eyes held meaning. Your Highness showed unusual wisdom yesterday, questioning loyalties. Perhaps that wisdom extends to questioning this convenient death? Convenient for whom? Cody studied Castillo's lined face, trying to determine if this was confession or misdirection. Every courtier became suspect when the queen lay dead ahead of schedule. I question everything. Let him interpret that as he would. As should anyone who values their neck. Castillo bowed and withdrew, but his words lingered. If the queen was murdered, the timeline Cody remembered was worthless. Death could come any day, from any direction. The funeral preparations consumed 3 days. 3 days of wearing black instead of emerald, of receiving condolences in languages Cody barely recognized, of watching Ferdinand retreat into grief while the kingdom teetered. He won't see anyone. Maria stood outside the king's chambers, black gown making her look older than 19. Not even Lord Mendoza, still under surveillance, though nothing suspicious had emerged. Either he was innocent or exceptionally careful. The kingdom needs leadership. Cody paced, unused to the way black silk moved differently than emerald. If father won't provide it, you can't seriously suggest, Isabella, we're princesses, not regents. We're whatever the kingdom needs us to be. The words came fierce. Or would you prefer chaos while father mourns? Maria stared at her sister. You've changed so much. It's like you're a completely different person wearing Isabella's face. If only she knew. But Cody pushed forward, using shock as motivation. Death changes people, and more death awaits if we remain passive ornaments. A pause, then softer. Help me, Maria. Help me save what can be saved. They worked together, princess regents in all but name. Cody drew on modern knowledge filtered through Isabella's authority, while Maria provided the diplomatic touch. They held court, heard petitions, maintained the fiction that Ferdinand still ruled. The East Tower is sealed, Captain Rodriguez reported on the 4th day. The passage you mentioned has been filled with stone. None shall enter that way. One threat eliminated. But during those same days, disturbing news arrived. Troops massing faster than historical records indicated. Alliance offers from kingdoms that should have remained neutral. The timeline wasn't just accelerating, it was changing. We need father. Maria collapsed in Isabella's chambers after a particularly difficult session. I can't keep pretending we know what we're doing. We're doing better than pretending. Cody sat beside her, black gowns mingling. We're preventing disaster. Are we? Mother is dead, father broken, enemies circling like vultures. Where's the prevention in that? She was right. For all Cody's knowledge, for all Isabella's borrowed authority, they were two young women trying to hold a kingdom together with determination and hope. It wasn't enough. Your Highnesses, Anna appeared, curtsying low. The king has emerged. He requests your immediate presence. They found Ferdinand in the throne room, still wearing black but standing straight. His grief had crystallized into something harder, more dangerous. My daughters. His voice carried winter. I've made a decision. Father? Maria stepped forward, hope brightening her features. You will both marry, immediately. Alliances through marriage might save what armies cannot. The words hit like physical blows. Cody's mind raced. This wasn't in the histories. The princesses died unmarried, their potential alliances dying with them. Father, please, Maria began. Prince Carlos of Aragon for you, Maria. Duke Henri of Burgundy for Isabella. The contracts are already being drawn. No. The refusal erupted from Cody without thought. Absolutely not. Ferdinand's eyes narrowed dangerously. You dare refuse your king? I refuse to be sold like cattle when the kingdom burns. Isabella's voice cracked with Cody's desperation. Marriage won't stop the invasion. It will only ensure we die in foreign courts instead of our own home. Isabella! Maria gasped at the impropriety, but Cody couldn't stop. Everything was spiraling wrong. Mother dies mysteriously. You emerge with marriage contracts already prepared. How convenient for those who benefit from our absence. You accuse me of murdering your mother? Ferdinand's roar shook the windows. I accuse someone, and shipping us away won't uncover who. Father and daughter faced each other, black-clad figures radiating fury. Courtiers pressed against walls, witnessing royal drama that would fuel gossip for generations, if there were generations left. Guards. Ferdinand's voice turned deadly quiet. Escort Princess Isabella to her chambers. She will remain there until she remembers proper behavior. Father, no! Maria tried to intervene. She's just upset about Mother. Silence. You at least still know your place. Prepare for your wedding. It happens in 3 days. 3 days. Cody was hauled away by guards who avoided eye contact, clearly uncomfortable restraining their princess. The black gown tangled around legs, hampering movement. Even rebellion was harder in corsets and silk. The chambers that had felt foreign now seemed like a cage. Anna waited inside, tears streaming. "Oh, my lady, to speak so to the king." Someone had to. Cody collapsed onto the bed, black silk pooling. "Anna, I need your help." "Anything, Your Highness." "I need to escape. Tonight. Before these marriages trap us all." Anna's tears stopped, replaced by determination. "I know servants who remain loyal to you, not the king. But where would you go?" Where indeed? Cody had no allies outside these walls, no safe harbors in a world centuries removed from anything familiar. But staying meant separation from Maria, meant watching disaster unfold from distant courts. First, I need information. Who prepared Mother's final meal? Who benefits most from these marriages? Which courtiers met secretly while we mourned? Anna nodded slowly. "I'll find answers. But my lady, if you're caught fleeing, then I die as Princess Isabella, not a traded bride." The words came grim. "At least I'll die trying to save something." Anna left on her missions. Cody paced the chamber, mind churning through possibilities. The corset made deep breathing impossible. The heavy gown impeded movement, but nervous energy demanded action. A soft knock interrupted. Maria entered, tears staining her cheeks. "How could you?" She collapsed against her sister. "How could you accuse father of such horrible things?" "Because someone killed her, Maria. You know Mother was healthy. You know this is wrong. But father is either guilty or manipulated. Either way, we can't trust him." Cody held Maria tight, memorizing the feeling. Soon they'd be separated, married to strangers while the kingdom fell. "I'm scared," Maria whispered into black silk. "Everything's changing so fast." "I know. Understatement of centuries. But we'll survive this. We have to." They held each other as afternoon faded. Maria eventually left to prepare for her wedding, each sister thinking it might be their last time together. Cody watched her go, blue gown disappearing around the corner. Anna returned as darkness fell, face grim. The cook says Mother's meal was prepared normally, but Lord Mendoza visited the kitchens that morning, claims he was checking provisions for the funeral feast. Mendoza again, under surveillance but still managing mischief. And several courtiers have been meeting at Lord Castillo's estate. They talk of necessary changes and new leadership. A coup. Not just invasion, but internal revolution. The pieces click together. Kill the queen, marry off the princesses, leave Ferdinand isolated and vulnerable, then strike from within while enemies attacked from without. "We leave tonight," Cody decided. "Find traveling clothes, food, money. We'll need—" The door burst open. Guards flooded in, followed by Lord Mendoza himself. His silver beard framed a triumphant smile. "Princess Isabella, by order of the king, you're under arrest for treason." Treason? Cody stood tall despite the fear. For questioning suspicious deaths? For conspiring to flee the kingdom? For spreading sedition? For refusing royal commands? Mendoza produced a warrant. "Your servant has confessed everything." Anna hid behind the guards, her face bruised. Cody's journey ended in the lonely tower. As days passed into weeks, her hope slowly disappeared. Locked in the empty cell, she became a shadow of who she once was. The black gown, which once showed her rebellion, now reminded her of her defeat. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.